The movie starts by showing us a young woman seated on her couch while touching herself for pleasure. Soon she gets up and ventures outside. Layla is a young woman living her best life in the city ever. Since she discovered sex, she has learned that she has power over men and she can use this to her benefit. However, there is a part of her that remains untouched and she wonders how to help her release the part of Layla in which a poster advertises a frat party and meets someone. She decides to check it out in hopes of. Layla is excited about the high testosterone levels in the air. As she retrieves a beer bottle from the fridge, she walks through the dancing party looking for someone to take home for the night, but she is quickly corralled into a bathroom by a hunk. The man David helps her get some water and the two share a look filled with sexual desire. Someone calls him from outside the bathroom and she leaves. Layla starts dancing seductively with two men while keeping her eyes locked on David. David ignores her girlfriend as he is drawn to Layla. Layla leaves the party with a shy man and the two walk to a fence, and Layla's adventurous spirit inspires her to act, where she begins to perform oral service on the shy man who is in the truck. He was unaware of the truck standing nearby. David and his girlfriend Victoria watch the couple in fascination. Layla gets up and faces the truck. Seeing David, she takes charge of the situation, forbidding the shy guy from finishing. Victoria goes down on David for a while and then she gets on top of him. David and Layla watch each other, with Layla being in control of her situation while David is impassive. The next day, Layla wakes up in her apartment. She goes to visit her parents and notices that there are a lot of items in the garbage bins, including a vase she had made. She picks it up and walks into the house. Layla asks her mother why the sudden declutter, and her mother explains that she is separating from Layla's father. Layla wonders why she wants to leave, and Layla's mother explains that she was never in love with her husband. Layla walks outside to the yard where her father is resting. He seems to not comprehend what is going on. Layla leaves the house and revisits her passionate scene from last night. She looks at the wrapper of the condom they had used last night and sees David's truck still parked at the same spot. It was last night. Layla walks away from the fence and struts into the street. David sees her and starts following her. Layla looks back and notices David. She smiles at him and then breaks into a run, leading the two to a secluded playground. The two crouch inside a small tunnel and Layla undresses. She gets into the tunnel while keeping eye contact with David and starts touching herself. David watches her for a minute, touches himself, gets up and leaves. Layla comes back up to see that David is nowhere to be seen. Layla's best friend Rachel is getting married soon, so Layla helps her pick her wedding dress. She learns that Rachel is having trouble as her ex-boyfriend keeps on calling her. She reveals that having sex with him is good, but she loves her fiancé and wouldn't want to leave him. Layla wonders how someone could choose love over great sex. Layla is at the park. When David approaches her, he motions for her to follow him and they go to his apartment. The two finally give in to emotions and have sex. After the deed is done, David asks to take Layla on a date. Layla has never had a date, so she agrees and the two exchange phone numbers. The next scene shows Layla working. She is answering a call when Victoria stands next in line. She knows that David is interested in Layla and she is here to intimidate her. Victoria tells Layla that she can have sex with David all she wants, but he will never be interested in her since he has mommy and intimacy issues. Layla gets a call from her mother and she goes home. She finds that her mother has started packing up the household stuff. She has a box full of Layla's stuff and has left a note asking her if she wants them. Layla is overwhelmed by the whole separation affair, so she seeks out David at his apartment. The two finally start dating. They have such a lovely time together. In the morning, Layla is woken by a noise. She gets up and follows the noise to the bathroom where David is helping his elderly father bathe. David's father is physically fragile, but he is charming and funny. He remarks that he heard the two going at last night and encourages the two to have premarital sex. When they please, Layla gets to see a kind side to David in the way he cares for and treats his father. The couple continues to go on dates to the beach, cycling and dying together. One night the two were at a club when David leaves Layla on the dance floor to get a drink. Layla starts dancing seductively with two men, making David beyond himself with anger and jealousy. When they go back to the apartment, David wants to know about Layla's amorous activities. He is angry to learn that she has been with two men together before. Layla brushes off his fears, saying that she is with him now and she likes what they do. David confesses that he thinks about Layla all the time and he needs her by his side. Layla thinks that this is a way of David sprucing up their affair. Even when he makes love to her in a passionate way, David makes Layla promise to never leave him and Layla agrees. In the meantime, Layla spends some time with her father while David continues caring for his father. David is with his dad when he wets himself, so he takes him to bed so he can change his clothes. David cleans him up, but the old man feels bad for making his son care for him. His father encourages him to find something to do and not spend his time working. David wakes up with Layla in his bed. He goes to the living room, but finds that his father had passed on in his sleep. David is so heartbroken and devastated. Layla has seen comforting him as David turns to her for consolation. The whole event makes Layla realize that she needs to be there for her father, who will be lost without her mother. Layla comes to terms with the divorce and begins helping her mother clean the house. One time she is with David when he gets all playful. Layla is not in the mood, but she lets it happen. In the deep of the night, Layla realizes that she cannot love David, since she does not know how to love anyone. She knows that she had made a promise to never leave him, but she leaves. Layla is with her mother helping her choose a new apartment. That night she misses David and seeks him out in his apartment. David asks her why she left in the morning, but Layla starts talking about some guy trying to pick her up in the club. David refuses to have sex with Layla since he cannot be with someone so amorous. Layla dances for David, but he kicks her out. The two argue as David feels that Layla is messed up and he cannot be with someone like that. He nearly hits her and Layla leaves. It turns out that David's ex-girlfriend was in the apartment the whole time. Layla tries convincing her father that all will be fine and he should let her mother be. Layla begins attending parties to look for sex, but she finds that her drive is gone. She looks for David, who is in a club with Victoria. She apologizes for leaving him and asks him to forgive her and take her back. She confesses her need to be with David and finally acknowledges that she is in love with David and is willing to change her lifestyle for him. David listens to her, but he refuses to be with her. Layla finds her sexual world becoming frustrating. With every minute she picks up the shy guy again, but the poor man is too nervous to follow Layla's commands. Layla finds that she cannot climax with him and she kicks him out of the house. Similarly, David is unable to achieve climax with Victoria and keeps thinking about Layla. Layla meets up with Rachel, who is still having trouble with her ex. Layla discourages her from meeting up with him as it is not a good idea and she needs to chase her heart. Layla and David keep on missing each other, but they are too stubborn to seek each other out. When Layla's parents officially move out, Layla goes to see her father, refusing to leave Layla. She convinces her father that everything will be fine and that she will be there for him, and that she invites him to dinner and lunch. And when David is at the park, he sees Layla's bicycle passing by. Layla follows her in her truck to Rachel's wedding. David follows her to the synagogue after the wedding. David approaches her, but before he can say anything, Rachel drags him away. She asks David if he is coming to the reception. David sees Layla dancing. An old man wants to dance with Layla, but she refuses and leaves him. David runs after her and tries to explain his feelings, but Layla keeps running. She runs to her apartment and the door. She tries to close, but David comes in. She locks herself in her room and listens as David promises not to leave. Layla opens the door and looks at David. The two share a passionate kiss in which they promise to be together forever. What means ends here.